Here's a question for you tonight. Is working from home starting to drive you crazy? Finding it hard to focus because everything is a mess? It just keeps piling up around you and it is impossible to keep up? I'm stressed just thinking about it, just saying it out loud. But here to help us sort it all out, which will, of course, help keep our anxiety levels down, is Nirmala Raniga, founder of the Chopra Center. And she's here to talk about the importance of creating different zones in your home, how to survive and thrive in a bubble. Nirmala, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Norma, and good evening.
Good evening to you. Thank you for staying up late. Now, for many of us, that bubble that we speak of is about 600 square feet. It's not easy to create zones, especially if you're a family. But you say that it's vital for our mental well-being. The first is to define your physical space. What does that mean?
Absolutely. So, we are right now confined in our spaces, our homes, whether it's an apartment or whatever that dwelling is. That we are not at our office, at our workplace. So now we are having to create a space in our homes, which will be our office. So the way this actually works is your bedroom should be the place where you sleep, your bed.
Yes.
Your living room, your sofa is where you sit and watch TV. Possibly your floor would be a place where you do yoga and exercise. But where do you create your workstation?
Exactly.
The best places would be ideally your dining table, or unless you have another folding table that you can put near a window, have a chair and create that workstation. But if you have a dining table, there's an extra chair, just creating that space there. So when you show up each day, you are sitting in that same space, and that becomes your workstation.
And that becomes that routine that we hear so often when we talk about our mental health, and keeping that routine, but also keeping our spaces and keeping things separate. Which brings us to our next question. The second zone that we should be mindful of is having a mental space, separating our home life from our office routines. How can people do this easily when you're in such cramped quarters?
Well, first thing is when you wake up in the morning, you do your routine like you're going to work, but then you show up at your table to do your office work. But during that time, I think taking some breaks is important. Getting up, walking around. If you have a patio or a back garden, just going for a walk, taking some deep breaths, creating that space, because our mind, everything filters through the five senses. So you want to take a pause. And the best technique is the word stop. So stop is just stop, take 3 deep breaths, observe any sensations in your body, and then proceed with compassion. So, and also listening to some music in between, just giving that space is important.
And it's also important, as we just saw, taking away some of that screen time sometimes, ditching the iPad and the iPhone and stuff for a while, getting away from the computer. Now, the third and final point that you have for us tonight, you refer to this as holding space. What do you mean by that?
The holding space is really about coming from a place of being conscious and present, considerate, caring for yourself, because we are all in a very difficult, tough time. So also our relationships, and we may get short in our relationships. So having that compassion for people around you, your family, your friends, reaching out, even though we are isolated physically, but we can connect socially to support them. So if a family member is struggling, suffering, holding that space emotionally, mentally, and supporting them, and also reaching out for yourself is very, very important.
It's kind of like, protecting yourself a little bit, but also leaving a little bit of yourself so that you can be there for other people, holding that space emotionally.
Absolutely, and it's so important to get through this. We are all in this together, and I think it's great. We can't change what's outside the situation. We are taking responsibility to not show up and observe all the parameters that have been put forward, but really creating also this opportunity to nurture some of our relationships and taking care of yourself. I think it is an opportunity.
It's always a pleasure.
We can't change the situation, but we can change what's within us in here.
Always a pleasure to have you here, Nirmala. For more information, more tips and discussion on this topic, more regarding our mental health, just go to the link that you can see at the bottom of your screen. Thanks for staying up late with us, Nirmala. We are back.
Thank you, and a pleasure.
We're back after the break.